All right, Hazen, we're going to take a look at your paper. First thing, MLA format. You're missing your last name, page number in the header, so you're going to want to fix that. This looks good, except the 7 goes before the March, so it'll be 7 March 2016. Children of divorce is not only boring, but is basically your topic too, so you definitely want to make a more creative title. Maybe that centers around your thesis statement, which we'll get to in just a second. But you also want to make sure that you don't underline. You don't need to underline your title as well. All right, here's my biggest problem with this paragraph. While functionally has almost everything it should have in an introduction, A is boring, B, you're missing a thesis statement. So let's talk about the boring part first. Many people have experienced a divorce in their family. Remember that your first sentence is an attention-getting first sentence. This is not attention-getting at all. So I want to see a specific example. I want to see a personal example. I want to see a startling statistic. I've heard this statistic so many times it makes my ears bleed. Okay, I understand that statistic, and it's okay to bring it up, but not at the very beginning of your paper. So really try to have a strong beginning before you get into this. But even just look at the language you use as far as, sticking out. The people most affected by a divorce are the children. A divorce can drastically change a child's present life and their entire future. Like, it's very boring word choice, very plain overall. Now, the progression is okay. By the way, you got a space issue there. The progression is okay because you are leading into your topic that children are affected by divorce. It can change academic and social behavior and poverty. So I get that you're getting to it, and so the progression is fine, but it's just you need a better attention getter. You need better word choice, and you need a thesis statement. You need a statement at the end that says, here's my message about the effects of divorce on children. Here's what I want to ultimately tell you about the people, the children of divorced parents. Maybe it could be the idea that it ruins their life forever. Maybe the idea that it can cause so many problems that they'll never be the same again. I don't know, something at the end that will make that paper stronger and that paragraph stronger. All right, so the first main point is that they suffer academically and socially. We talked about strong topic sentences, Hazen, so this is not a strong one. We need a message as part of it. So it causes this, which leads to what? Okay. Now, you talk about more than 30 years of study. I'm assuming you got this from some outside source, which, as I look below, you don't have a works cited page. So you are missing a works cited page, and you're missing in-text citation, because I need to know where you got this from. So one reason is they're distracted by family problems. Okay, give me some examples, give me some thoughts, give me some details about this, because then you jump right into, also during school they might be distracted by this. And then you get into different homes, and it takes up time, which is good. So this one, look, you actually progress this one. So you say one thing and then you back it up. So that's what we want to see more of up here. Children also can be embarrassed because having divorced parents isn't normal. Well, you just told me that 50% of all, marriages end in divorce. So actually I think it is, unfortunately, very normal nowadays. But maybe it's the idea of being perceived that it's not normal, that his parents are splitting, or his or her parents are splitting up. So maybe it's the perception thing that you should highlight with that, and not the idea that it just isn't normal, because I feel like it is becoming more and more normal nowadays. These feelings are what stops a child from being social and trying to make friends. There are many effects. Now, here is a prime example. A, you already said this up in the introduction. B, look how boring and plain it is. There's no voice to this, no feeling to it whatsoever. Suffering academically and socially are just two. You're basically just repeating this, okay? One other effect. So this is your attempt at doing a transition. Here's another attempt, or something else you can think about. When kids of divorced parents fail at school and can't make friends is when they oftentimes turn towards deadly substances. That's a transitional statement. And now you can get into this paragraph, which is about alcohol and drug use, I believe, the behavioral issues that are involved. But try to think of your transitional statement like this. Get rid of all this, put a better transitional statement in there. And you're actually kind of getting to that point right here. But stops the child from being social and trying to make friends. When they do that, then they often turn to blah, 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 blah. There's your transitional statement. But again, we want some more specific examples in here to make that paragraph stronger. All right, just structurally, look how short this paragraph is. So we got to make sure that we're making our paragraphs longer with more details. So the next one is about they become more likely to become delinquents. You might want to define that. What does it mean to be a delinquent? Because I often call kids delinquents, but that's probably different than the legal definition of what a delinquent is. I'm in trouble with the law, I'm assuming. They blame their parents. They've built up anger, blame their parents for divorce. They have feelings of sadness, confusion, and frustration, which seems like information for the last paragraph. And they show their feelings by lashing out. Again, give me a specific example. Give me a detail. Give me something that's original and new and not just something you're rehashing from the internet. Parents' attention. This is possessive, so you need an apostrophe in here to get their parents' attention. So make sure you put an apostrophe in there. High percent of them do. Well, what is the percent? You say a high percent do. Give me a percent. And then again, you need some in-text citation of where you got this information from. They always may show these problems because they're living in poverty. Now, this is a better transitional statement. This one flows a little bit better than the last one. So good job on that one. That actually works pretty well. But again, we need more specifics in here. Children of divorce are almost 5 times more likely to live in poverty. I didn't know that. So 5 times. See, there's an example, Hazen. Something that is not a typical bit of information that works well. You spell out numbers 2 to 11, so make sure you spell out the number 5 in this case. A census was done, and according to the report, 28% of children in divorced parents live below the poverty line. So just combine these 2 sentences. That seems to be one of your things too. Nearly all of your sentences are not longer than 1 line, basically. So if you look at this one, not longer than 1 line. This one's not longer than 1 line. This one's not longer than 1 line, as far as it doesn't take up 1 line. This one's not longer than 1 line. This one's not longer than 1 line. This one is longer than 1 line. Okay, so you have too many short, choppy sentences. Really think about extending your sentences and adding some compound sentences to really make your add more detail, add more length, to break up the whole idea of the short, choppy sentence thing that you got going on. But I think you need, again, to get into, it's a short paragraph, get into some specific examples of how this affects children as far as poverty, because poverty will tie into social too. So you can go back and talk a little bit about the social ramifications of living in poverty and being divorced. So not only are they worried about their social standing, but now they're worried about their financial standing as well. So think about that. This can cause, here, a good word choice one here, this can cause financial issues in one or both parents, directly affecting the child. So there's no strong words in there. This dire financial problem can radically change the course of a child's life, or something. Hazen, give me a little bit better word choice. Divorce can be tough on children. So this is kind of getting to your thesis statement. It's not a good thesis statement, but this is the concept that you want to include in your thesis statement in your introduction when you rewrite this. So you're on the right track with that. They suffer academically and socially. They turn to crime, live in poverty. So you got all your main points down here. It's a natural thing, comma, and there isn't much anyone can do to prevent it. You have 2 complete sentences with a conjunction, so you got to put a comma in there. The effects it has on children can be negative. Well, you've only told me negative effects, so I think that's probably not can be negative, are negative, right? They should think about their kids. Boring. Hazen, we got to add something else. Punch this up a little bit. Give me a quote. Give me start with a specific example at the beginning and come back to it at the end, something to make this stick out. So Hazen, work on word choice, work on more details, and get that in-text citation in there and the works cited page. So looking forward to a rewrite.